Hello, besties. Welcome to Martinis with Eddie, your ultimate destination for everything Bravo. Let's spill some tea, dissect the drama, and uncork the juiciest gossip for your favorite reality TV shows. I'm Eddie, and I'm so excited tonight, you guys. I have so much to talk about because Jersey was so good. And we also had Summer House. Those are the shows that we are focusing tonight. And tomorrow night we will be talking about Vanderpump Rules. I just watched the episode. I watched Swart's performance, appearance on Watch What Happened Live, and we will be talking about it tomorrow night. So let's focus on Summer House for a second. It's Kyle's 40th birthday. And I'm telling you, you guys, I know a lot of people out there criticize Kyle for always being, drunk or doing the most. But I'm telling you, I'm turning 40 this year, you guys. I'm turning 40. So I'm living through Kyle. I am going to be that person in a few months, having a good time because I want to celebrate my birthday the way that it's supposed to be. On this episode, the gang gets back to the Hamptons after a whole weekend of Danielle and Lindsay fighting and trying to figure out their dynamic as friends. Now that Danielle feels like she has become a third wheel to Carl and Lindsay's relationship. And honestly, you guys, I'm still trying to understand where is this drama coming from? Because Danielle was a diehard Lindsay apologist. Everything that Lindsay did, Danielle will find a way to apologize for her or explain why she's doing it. She was a ride or die friend. But this season, that friendship is falling apart and it's really interesting to watch. Danielle feels like Lindsay is kicking her to the side because she's always with Carl. And Lindsay said on this episode that the reason why Danielle is acting like that is because her boyfriend is nowhere to be found. That was a little of a drag. She dragged Danielle with that comment on her confessional. And I'm not a big fan of Lindsay. I mean, I have my opinions on her, but that was a read. She read her, and I was impressed. I was impressed for that comment. Also, at the house, the boys were still playing frat boys with Chris in his introduction to the gang. He stole items from every single room, and the item that caught my eye the most was I know it's gonna sound disgusting, but he stole Sierra's panties. I only hope that he grabbed those panties from the clean pile and not the dirty one because he was grabbing those panties. He was feeling the fabric. He was doing the most, and I'm like, I just want to know where those panties have been. I hope it's from the clean pile. One of the reasons why I love Summer House, though, you guys, is because it's a group of friends. This is a group of professionals. They have jobs outside of being reality TV stars, and they go to the Hamptons to have a good time. So every time that they go out and there's some shenanigans happening, I appreciate that about the show. I do miss you guys the house parties. This season we are missing those. And it feels like in the upcoming episode, we are gonna get that with Kyle's 40th birthday. On this episode, it's kind of like a pre-game for it. The whole theme of the party is going to be Western, cowboys and cowgirls, this whole shebang. I was laughing though because Kyle is quick with his shade. He's shady in a fun way. Um, Sam walked into the house wearing this kind of like blue and white outfit, and what Kyle said to her was that she looked like a tablecloth. I'm like, why you have to do same like that, Kyle? She looks so cute. She looked cute. And then you compare her to a tablecloth. That was shady. That was shady. Um, I am happy that Kory is back, or at least is now in Summer House. He was in Winter House last season, and now he is a guest in these upcoming episodes. Same with Craig. Let's talk about Craig for a second. I like Craig and Paige together. They seem to be a good couple. Craig and Paige are made for a reality TV show. I'm not a big fan of Craig. On Southern Charm, he does the most. He's always trying to get involved in the women's drama. And I have my opinions when a man is too involved in the ladies' drama. And that's why, the other guys always like make fun of him. Austin and Shep, they always make little comments and little digs at Craig's behavior and how involved he is in the drama. But for some reason, when he's around Paige, he's a little more I can digest him more when he's around Paige. And it must be because he seems to be the type of guy who loves to be in love. We had seen him many times on Southern Charm. I don't know if you guys who are listening right now and are here on my live chat, I don't know if you guys watch Southern Charm. If you do not watch it, go watch it. It's a crazy show, and it's 9 seasons starting in the fall, so you have time to catch up with the episodes for you guys to get to know more about these charmers. But Craig, it's on that show, as we all know, and I appreciate his dynamic with Paige. And they are gonna be talking about some serious conversation in the upcoming episode: marriage, moving together, having kids. And I'm not really sure if Paige is ready for all that stuff. Paige seems to be very happy living in New York City, hanging out with her friends. And I don't think she's ready to move to South Carolina. I don't think she is the type of girl who will fit in Charleston. I think Paige is way too upfront, too city girl, too independent, too kind of like fit in the Charleston society. But who knows? I mean, she's been on the show, she's been on the Southern Charm, and I kind of want to see her more on that show because she brings a different dynamic than the other ladies. That's one thing. Then the other guest, Kory. I like Kory because he is the like the I mean the typical party animal. That's what he is. He likes to, be surrounded by girls and be, drinking, and he also is a personal trainer, so he has the whole package going on of being like the bad boy, quote unquote, of the show. But as we know now, the tea of the whole thing is that Kory and Sam is the new cast member of Summer House, they are dating. And they met on this last episode. That's how they met when he came down for Kyle's birthday. Fun fact that Sam shared on an interview: when Kory was doing press for Winter House and he went to watch what happened live, she was in the audience in the back. Nobody knew who she was, and he couldn't say anything because that was after Summer House ended, filming, but the cast was not announced. So she couldn't say anything, but she was there with him. And then after the show, they went to Paige and Craig's and spend the night and have a good time or whatever. They were already dating, you know? So it's crazy how it's been many months, and then we just found out a couple of days ago because obviously they don't want to, they don't want to ruin the show. I want to see how long they last. I'm hoping they last a long time because even though you will not think of Kory as somebody who is going to be in a serious relationship, I like the dynamic between Kory and Sam because they both are fun. They like to party, they like to have a good time. And Sam was saying, I want to meet somebody who is going to be dancing with me on the top of the table, not somebody who's going to be watching from far away. And Kory is that type of guy. He's the type of guy who will jump on the table and just has no censorship. He says whatever is on his mind. So I do see the chemistry between Sam and Kory to be organic, and I hope they last a long time. But let's move to Jersey. Jersey, because I know that's what you guys want to listen. You guys want to have opinions on because it's been quite the episode, you guys. First off, let's say that Teresa was not involved on this episode as much because she had COVID. But somehow she still was the center of the conversation pretty much on every scene. I want you guys to go watch this show if you haven't watched it. And I want you guys to analyze every scene of the latest episode. Teresa was just in one scene. It was a FaceTime scene with Danielle. And they were talking about, how they ended at the party down the shore. Which I still have to say that Louis, comment about the pajama, I'm still in my head trying to digest it. It's been a whole week and I'm still thinking about it. I don't know about you guys. Um, I can take that image of a grown man saying that he's wearing the father-in-law's pajama that is already gone. I mean, the man is gone. Please don't wear his pajamas. On this episode, though, the drama gets deeper as Joe Gorga and Melissa insinuate that Louis was the reason why, you know, Dina was not present at Teresa's wedding. And I have opinions on it. I do have to say that that was not necessarily the reason why Dina was not at Teresa's wedding. To answer this question, Kane Cordova is asking, why wasn't Teresa in this episode? Well, Teresa had COVID. The funniest part is like when she's talking to Danielle about, testing positive. The reason why she thought she was drained and tired was because her stress over the fight with Melissa. Like, only Teresa. Only Teresa. Like I was saying before, one of the focus on this episode is how Joe Gorga and Melissa said that Louis burned a bridge with Dina's husband because allegedly he also tried to scam them in a business. I hope that Dave makes a statement. I mean, the guy's too busy. The guy's not even involved in the reality TV world. And his name is brought up on the show. Uh, Also, it's very strange that Joe Gorga said that when, if you go to Dina's Instagram, she's not following Gorga. If you go um, to her husband's Dave Instagram, which by the way is a private Instagram, Louis's son, Teresa, Gia, they're all following him and he's following them back. And he's not following Joe Gorga. And Joe Gorga is not following him. or Melissa. So allegedly, he said on the show that they are friendly and he called him. And I'm like, yes, he called you, but he doesn't follow you on Instagram. And yeah, it might sound stupid, but if Dave is following Louis, why he's not following his friend Joe Gorga? I was just thinking about that. I was like, I mean, there's no way in hell that Dave grabbed the phone and called him, especially because we all know how Dina feels about Melissa. The math ain't mathing. In my head, it's not mathing. You know? So I mean I don't even understand this whole Pizzagate situation. I mean, obviously, I had read about it. I have a little information about it, and based on the conversation had on the show, let's put it this way: I'm not going to bring in any extra information that people are finding out right now. Let's focus for 1 second of what Joe Gorga said about the goddamn Pizzagate. He asked Louis for money. Louis said, I'll put the money and I give you 10%. Gorga wanted 50% for an idea only. He was not going to put any money on the business. He just brought an idea. And so for that reason, he deserved 50% of the profit. I don't know what type of business he's talking about. I don't know what type of business school he went to, but that's not how businesses are. And especially if you are the person putting the money for it, if you are the investor, as an investor, you get more percentage than whatever Buffon comes with the idea. And I'm calling Buffon Joe Gorga, not people with ideas. Another thing that I noticed though is that the only reason why we're talking about this right now is because the wedding. It's because the wedding. Which, by the way, Melissa was invited to go to the wedding, right? She was complaining because her mom was not invited. And then she was complaining that and then Gorga was complaining that she was not part of the wedding, party. Teresa was like, okay, if you want to be in it, just be in it. And she declined the invitation to be part of the wedding party because she felt like it was a last minute thought. And yeah, but I mean, if she wanted to be part of it, as might as well just take it, because on this episode, Dolores and Jennifer finally mend their problems. They finally get to the point where they both decided to move forward. Um, Dolores said that she appreciates um, you know Jennifer and Bill's marriage, and she appreciates what she see in them outside the show. So she wanted to be there for Jen. If Jen needed, an ear or a shoulder to cry on, she wanted to be there for her because she want to make sure that at least they try to, you know, to fix whatever issue they have. I like that about Dolores. Dolores seems to be somebody that, even though sometimes she's Switzerland, she is very good at reading people, and she's very good at knowing when to be a friend. If you have been a friend to her, you know what I'm saying? She's Patterson Dolores. She gets upset. She can read people, and she can be a very, very strong presence. But when Dolores says like I'm gonna be there for you, she's also going to be there for you, and that's what she did for Jennifer, and I appreciate that. Also, Jennifer said, I'm gonna move forward with this friendship because it makes sense at that point. Like all this nonsense from the past at this point, it's the past. They spoke about it many times. They might agree on some stuff. They might disagree with other stuff. So when you get to that point, there's nothing else to do. They just move forward. If you want to be friends, you just move forward, and that's what they did. After this launch that they had, they found out that they both were going to be bridesmaids to Teresa's wedding. And the reason why is because obviously, uh, especially Dolores was invited to be a bridesmaid because Dina was not going to be able to participate in the wedding. And oh my gosh, these ladies took this as it was such a problem. I had never seen so many people being involved in somebody else's wedding planning, yo. I'm like, speak to me, bro. Speak to me because I need to know if am I being crazy here? Am I taking crazy pills? But the point being is like it's Teresa's wedding. If she wants to have Dolores as a bridesmaid, people should be like fine with it. Like okay, cool. Mm, I mean, it kind of sucks that Melissa's not because they're family, but that's not up to anybody but Teresa herself. You know, people forget. I mean, yeah, we're watching a TV show, we're watching a reality TV show where they are sharing their lives, and we have opinions on it because it comes with the game. We are playing a game here where we have opinions on people that we feel like we know, even though we truly don't know them. But if we are talking about real life wedding planning, even myself, when I plan my own wedding, I did not care about anybody's opinion. I did not care about anybody's opinion. My uh, groomsman was my best friend. He sat literally next to me on my table, you know, and then my family was sitting at a different table. My mom, my sister, my aunts, everybody was on a different table. In my wedding table was me, my husband's groomsman, my best friend who was my groomsman, and maybe somebody else. It was just a few people. And if somebody said to me, "Why is your mom not sitting with you or your sister?" I'm like, "That's not your goddamn business. You don't know anything, you know?" So that's how I see it. I see it as like if somebody came to me putting their 2 cents into how I plan my wedding, I'll be like, "That's not none of your business." So that's how I see it when I watch this show. And yes, they're gonna play the whole "oh we're family" and whatever, but it seems to me that this wedding has only strengthened the issues from the past. This is bigger than Teresa's wedding. This is bigger than Melissa not being a bridesmaid. This is bigger than Joe Gorgon not going to Teresa's wedding. This is a this was the cherry on top of a mountain of problem that we have witnessed for almost what 12 years now, 10 years, whatever they've been on the show. I want to read this because it's true. Aaron just said Dolores has been a good friend to Teresa and it's like family. Even Joe Gorga said Dolores is a family a couple of seasons ago when he was giving Dolores a hard time about David. So it's really funny how now the Dolores has been invited. They're questioning the reasoning why. I'm gonna tell you why too. Melissa made a comment about Dolores not being at the engagement party. But let me remind you who was at the engagement party. Dina. And we all know what happened between Dina and Dolores. Maybe not between them, but Dolores is really close to Caroline Manzo. And we know what Caroline Manzo did to Dina. It's very public. This is not gossip. This is not me making stuff up. This is a very public case of somebody sending letters of character for a investigation in court, situation. And Dina's and Teresa's friendship will always trump any other friendship that Teresa has. We all know that Dina and Teresa are very close. And even though people keep saying that they are not friends anymore, Dina has debunked that many times. Um, Jacqueline said it. Teresa said it many times. So it's just hard for me to understand how people keep making stuff up. How people still kind of like not believing the source. They would rather believe other bloggers who have dinner and brunch and lunch with Margaret. You know who you are. If you're listening, you know who you are. You post all this um, blind items or whatever you want to call it, but you are out there having lunch and dinner with Margaret, and then make it seem like like the whole thing with Dina, whatever, and trying to push the narrative that the Louis and Dave had an issue. So yeah, people rather believe some random bloggers than the actual source. If Dina, Teresa, including Jacqueline, who's not even involved in any of this, said Teresa and Dina are friends, then that's it. What else do you want? What other sauce do you want? What other sauce do you want? It's happening so often that it's infuriating because um, as somebody who watched New Jersey as kind of like one of my favorite franchises. I mean, I grew up in Jersey, so I feel very familiar with their behavior and their mentality and the way that they act, the way they talk. So I feel kind of connected in some level to these people. We literally uh, hang out in the same circles. I mean, I grew up in Richwood, New Jersey. That's where they filmed the first season. A lot of the time, they're what's it called? Melissa has her boutique in Richwood, New Jersey. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys know. And when the ladies do their book tour and signing whatever, they do it at the library in bookstore in Richwood. So I do feel a sense of connection with these people. Like maybe I don't know them in person or I don't know them like as friends, but there is a lot of like places that we go to and stuff like that. That it feels familiar to me. Uh, and I'm sure that Dina, especially Dina, she doesn't want to be involved in any of this drama. You know what I'm saying? She hasn't been on the reality TV show, game for a long time, and she doesn't want the paycheck from Bravo either. That's why she was not at the wedding. That's the real reason she was not at the wedding, and she said it herself. And people still want to believe that something else happened. You know, um, based on what Dina has said in the past, the reason why she didn't go to the wedding was because when she was asked or when she was going to be Teresa's bridesmaid, the show and Teresa, I mean, Bravo and Teresa haven't gotten to the agreement of filming the wedding. If you guys watched Teresa's appearance last year on what should happen live. She was asked, "Are you going to have a wedding special, or what are you gonna film for the show?" And she said, like, "I'm not sure. I don't know if I want that. I don't know if my family wants that either. We are in the talk, but we're not sure." And somebody on my comments on Twitter said, like, "Oh, uh, are we gonna pretend that that was true?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's how TV works. You negotiate a contract, and if you don't feel like the contract is good for you or whatever, you don't go through it." Especially Teresa, who's been on the show for such a long time, she doesn't need the money. I mean, she doesn't need the extra coins. Obviously, it's good, but I feel like at this point, this wedding situation, she was focusing more on her own happiness, you know? So at that point, Dina was okay with being at the wedding, right? What happened later on is that Teresa and Bravo got to the agreement of make the wedding part of the season, right? At that point, Dina backed out because she didn't want to be in front of the camera. And to me personally, that makes a lot of sense. There's no extra juice to it. When you have been in front of a camera for so long, and when you have been uh, scrutinized and always under a microscope, especially after what happened to her in the public eye, especially after her sisterhood fell apart, her connection with Caroline Manzo fell apart, and part of it has to do with reality TV show. So I can see why Dina feels in some kind of way. Teresa herself said that the day of the wedding, Dina and her were on the phone a lot. So why is it so hard to believe that? Why is it so hard to take the information from the source and be like, you know what, that makes sense? I do wish, I do wish Joe and Melissa went to the wedding, even if it was just out of I don't know, just because they had to. Because the amount of disappointment that the kids are getting from this fight is going to be hard for them to move forward as a whole family, especially now. I do think that if Melissa and Joe went to the wedding, their their reasoning to try to mend their relationship would have been easier for them. I find it more difficult now because he missed her sister's wedding. There's going to be other reasoning for Melissa not going to this wedding that we're gonna see on the show. But we gotta remember the source. We gotta remember who said what and who was keeping a secret or keeping it as a secret or who wanted it out and who didn't want it out. So, to me, this whole conversation about Dina and the wedding is starting to feel so petty, especially on the Gorga side. Because no matter what is Teresa's wedding, no matter what, it's her decision to do whatever she wants with her wedding. And that should be enough reason for Gorga and Melissa to understand. And I do believe, um, Aaron, you mentioned it before. You mentioned that you think that Melissa is not as bothered by this, and the one that is really bothered is Joe Gorga. I believe so too, especially because Little Man has the ego of the Himalayan mountains, and also is as petulant as a baby. So I do believe that the one with the with like the issue is Gorga. I mean Joe Gorga. Let's hope that down the line they find a way to fix the relationship as brother and sister, because after watching this episode and after watching what happened during BravoCon, I mean it's quite embarrassing, to be honest, the way that especially Joe Gorga behaves. Because I'm not saying that Teresa is a saint. Okay, let's put it in perspective. These are human beings. They're not perfect, but there is a level of maturity that Joe Gorga does not have. And I'm like, dude, you are not a teenager. You are not a high schooler. You're not a frat boy. You're none of those. You're supposed to be a man with a family, thinking about his family, and his family also include his sister and his sister daughters. And I always find him to be very opinionated in a very negative way. Like, I don't know. That's just my take on Joe Gorga. It's kind of embarrassing. He's embarrassing. I don't know. I mean, some people like him. I mean, good for them. But I think he's just the type of guy whose ego is way too inflated to what he truly delivers as a person. At least on the show. Like I said before, outside the show, who knows? Part of the show too was a coffee reader. Which, by the way, do you guys believe that she fed lines? I mean, Jennifer Aiden fed lines to the coffee reader. She denied it though. She said no. She said no. But I want to know your opinion, because I was watching the scene and to me that was really funny, because I want to believe Jennifer. I like Jennifer and I choose to believe her, but there is a side of me who said like maybe she did, and it was funny. It was funny, but at the same time, it was interesting to see how they were agreeing with everything she said until she got to Margaret and she got upset. And oh my gosh, I can't believe the another like whatever it calls, like coffee reader or like shaman. It's been happening a lot on the housewife lately. I mean, it's never going to be like the dinner from hell in Beverly Hills, but oh my gosh, Miami had a shaman, Potomac had a shaman. Now we have the coffee reader. We have a card reader on Vanderpump Rules. It's like every show now brings like somebody with like a vision or like let me tell you a future or whatever. I'm cool with that. I don't know. Do I believe it? I don't know. But it's really entertaining and um oh my gosh, Danielle versus Rachel Fuda. I'm loving that because Danielle finally woke up and let her have it. And when Danielle is activated, she's truly activated. She is Staten Island for sure. When she speaks, you know when you're gonna get the heart. And when she said to Danielle, you going around changing my words and all this stuff, and I'm like, here we go, girl your loins, because it's gonna get really good. I'm excited for the trip to Ireland. That's going to be a really awesome trip. And we haven't had a good trip on New Jersey for a very long time. And going down the shore is not a trip. It's not a trip. That is literally a few hours drive down the shore. That's not a trip. So I'm excited to see the ladies finally go, across the pond and have a good time. We are going to see so much drama though, because now is when it gets good. Now is when the true behind the reasoning of Melissa not going just happens to show up during these episodes. Um, I'm excited. Are you excited? That's the question that I have for you guys. Are you excited for the rest of the season because it's coming? And that reunion is gonna be filmed next week, so you know that I'm gonna be digging everything that I can about this reunion because I wanna bring you all the tea exclusive here on Martinez with Eddie. I'm gonna be looking for any little thing from this reunion and gonna bring it to you. Trust me. I'm gonna be using every source that I have, every connection that I have, whatever it takes. I wanna get that juicy gossip from the reunion because it's going to be really good. It's going to be as good as Vanderpump Rules in a different level. We are waiting for Vanderpump Rules, and I know, Candy, if you're still around, you know that I'm going to have a panel with many Bravo content creators. And Candy, I want you here. I want your opinion. It's going to be an awesome reunion from Vanderpump Rules. But Jersey is going to be just as explosive because more drama happened after the season wrapped that I'm pretty sure is going to be mentioned on the show. Many things are going to be revealed during this reunion that you guys have no idea. And I'm excited to hear all this stuff being spilled during the reunion of New Jersey. So that's next week. And I'm going to be looking for that tea. And if you are enjoying this podcast, if you're enjoying this, please go ahead and subscribe to my podcast and rate my podcast as well, because that's the way that us as podcasters can survive in this sea of creators. You can also find my YouTube channel. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram as Martinez with Eddie. I also have my own website, martinezwitheddie.com. You guys, how awesome is that we can be here every week and share our opinions. So I really want you guys to mark your calendars, enjoy me live, and leave your comment here, right here on the live chat. Tomorrow night, I'll be talking about Vanderpump Rules and the episode of Ultimate Girls Trip 3 that comes out tomorrow as well. I'll be here at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Friday, I have guests at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. These guests are my bros. These guys are my bros. I hope you're here because we are gonna be having a bro-stastic time. If you know if you know who I'm talking about, you know it's gonna be good. So, you guys, thank you so much for staying around. It's been awesome. For those who are listening, we had a couple of like audio issues before, so I had to start the show like 3 times, and I'm so thankful and I appreciate you guys who came back each time and they stick around and they stay with me. I see you, I know who you are, and I truly love you. This is from my heart to yours, besties. Have a great night. Like I always say, 1, 2, 3. Say it with me. Bye, besties.